Hello. So this is going to be a little bit of a more challenging inventor assignment because you're going to have to create something of your own. I'm going to start by opening up my wheel. Not the one that we did together as a class, but the one that you designed on your own. Now, I'm going to have multiple files open because we're going to create an assembly. So you should have already done that even though it was really basic, but we're going to work on creating our own car. So if I bring this into view, this is just a very basic assembly. I've created, you can see I have my wheels, I have two axles, I'm just minimizing these so you can see them in the tree all together, and then I have my car body. So you're going to work on creating a car of your own. It can't be just a block, but you can add headlights, I added a windshield, I'll probably fillet these, add in other details, but I want to show you the basics of this before we go. So I started with, we've already created our wheels. So then I'm just going to go File, New, and I'm going to start with the standard part. I'm going to start with, and I'm just kind of making up numbers, but I'm going to start with a 6x3 rectangle. So it's 6 inches by 3 inches, and that's going to be the basis of my car body. So I'm going to say Finish, and I'm going to extrude that 3 inches. Now this is your car. You can kind of make it whatever you want, but I'm just showing you some basics. I'm going to start a new sketch on this surface. Say I want it to be flat for a little while, come up at an angle, say tab 130. I'm just kind of making something so that way it looks the way I want it to look. I'll do the same thing from the back. I'm going to close in these shapes because I'm going to extrude them so that way I'm removing that part of the material. I'm going to click Finish Sketch. Now I have this unconsumed sketch. I'm going to extrude this and this, but I want it to be cut through my whole car. And I'm going to press OK. So I'm starting to get that general car shape. Look at different car shapes. You can look at toy cars, look at whatever you want so that way you can create something that you like. I'm going to start a new sketch on this surface. And I'm going to use my center rectangle so that way I can snap to my midpoints fully. Should. If not, I could draw a line in. I'm going to draw my lines in. So now I'm going to grab my rectangle, grab my midpoint, and I can draw in that windshield as I see fit. So I'm going to finish sketch. And I'm going to give that just a little bit of thickness to it. I don't even want that much. Just a little bit of thickness, because that's going to allow me to change my materials. So let's say I want it to be black, a little like that. Swing. So you have to make sure you're selecting what you want. So let's do glossy black for the window. And it's not changing. Isn't that fun? So this happens sometimes. I think it's a problem with Inventor. Now, if you see this, it looks really the same color. If I go into realistic, you can kind of see that's slightly different. I'm not going to use this color for my main car though. Let's say I want it to be red. So I can choose by my extrusions, I can click on specific surfaces to make whatever it is that I want. I don't really like the nose of this, so I'm going to go back and edit it later, but I can add in all these other things. So let's say I'm going to click on this surface, I want to start a sketch. Let's put in some headlights. And again, I can always go back and move and change different things. So I'm starting to get car-like. Something I do want to add in are where my axle holes go. This is dependent on the size axle. I'm going to make my axles 0.25. If you think about this as being like a little toy car. Do that same process. Actually, drawing in Inventor is a lot like CAD, and you've done very complicated CAD drawings. It's just thinking about how you're breaking up that object. So I'm going to edit my sketch because I don't really like, I want this to be longer. So I'm going to select this. And I want to move it. So if you notice, I've changed some things. I didn't close that in. So as you're working, it's okay if you have to go back and make changes. As you can see, I am. Part of design is really figuring out what you want. Now see, I have that kind of longer front to my car, so I like that a little bit better. Maybe I want to fill it a nose, so make it a little bit more car-like. There's lots of things to do. Make this what you want. Your car, you're designing it. So I'm going to go and save this. Example. I have to change up my naming because I use so many different files as examples, and I need one more new sketch. And I am going to, you have to remember how big you made your car and your axle, so I know my axle 0.25. I'm going to finish sketch. I'm going to extrude it. My car was 3 inches wide. I'm going to make it my axles 4 long, so that way I'm thinking about it has to stick out to hold my wheels on. So let's go File, Save As, axle, example. And I'm going to save that. Now, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go New, and I'm going to create my standard assembly. This is where it's going to allow me to place all those different parts together. one car. I want 2 axles and 4 wheels. Now we're going to use our constraints to constrain all of our parts together. So previously we used mostly mates with mate, mate, and mate flush. For my axles and my car, I am going to use insert, but I have to offset it. So I'm going to offset it 3.5, and that was in the wrong direction, negative 3.5. Apply, so that way I can get my wheels to fit on my axles. I think I should be able to use that same thing. And again, I'm shifting around. There's a little bit too much room, so I'm going to offset it. Let's try negative 0.45. I don't want my wheel to interfere with my car. See how there's a little bit of a gap in here? And I can see that my axle's in there, so I have that gap. My wheel shouldn't be inside the car. Those are 2 totally different parts. So I'm just going to continue assembling my car. And again, there are lots of different ways to do this. Shifting around, making sure you can see what you're doing. So you're starting to get my aesthetic. So you're going to create a car, toy car, because it doesn't have to be quite as detailed as a real car, of your design with using the wheel you created. You're going to create that, and then don't forget that you're going to need to draw a part for your axles. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.